all right. The man of the hour, Mr. James Savant. Good morning, Friday morning, Jimmy. How are you, sir?
I'm excellent. I'm very happy. I'm very well prepared today. And let's start with the topic. Let's start real fast. I'm not against the Democratic Party. I'm against the leadership of the Democratic Party.
Sure,
Let's
sure.
take one thing and separate from the other. The principles of my party, I am with them 200%. The idiots who are in charge, I'm with against them 200%.
Sure.
And let's start with the topic today. Can't keep even the lights on. I'll tell you why. The Democratic Party cannot sell what? Can somebody explain to me what we're selling today? Oh, that Trump is bad? Yes, he is. But if that's the only thing you have to sell, then you're short.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take up my grandfather. He always told me, don't criticize if you don't have a solution. So I'm going to give you at least two or three. Let's start with the last thing. We signed a great deal with the UK. No, we didn't. But it sounds good. It's full of lies, but it sounds great. So, Democrats, let's start with this. The total trade of the United States with Great Britain is 3% of our total trade in the world. It's 3%. And prior to this crazy guy going, we're going to put tariffs on everything, the tariffs from products from the United States coming into England, the United Kingdom, was 1%. Can't go any lower than that. It was 1%. It was not 10, it was not 20. They were not killing us. Yes. Let me educate you that that agreement they signed is basically the same. We charge them 10%, they charge us 1%. And that was what existed before this war. So there's nothing new in the deal. So we Democrats, we might want to say, hey, Donald Trump, you're the king with no clothes. You're bullshitting us. You're selling us a bag of lies. There's nothing new in this treaty. This was the old treaty, just executed a different way. Now, let's get to the second line that Democrats could come up. Does anybody really understand what a deficit is? I'll make it simple for you. I have a deficit with Amazon, with Walmart, with my pharmacy, with my doctors. Why? Because deficit is this. If I sell to David something for $100 and he buys from me something that's worth 15, there's a deficit in our transaction of $85 in favor of David. That is deficit. Yes. Do we have a deficit with China? Yes. Whose fault is it? Ours. Why? Because we buy more stuff than any other country in the world. So people, Democrats, start saying, look, this is a bag of lies. They're lying to you. Deficit is not something that's evil. We all have deficits. I pay my barber and he's never paid me back for anything. I go to Walmart and I buy something and Walmart doesn't buy anything from me. So there's a deficit in that relationship. But the biggest problem that we don't understand and the lie that the Republicans are giving us, we are a consuming country. Nobody consumes more than us. So we buy more than they buy from us. We, and the other part of the deficit that is a lie, we sell services. And that does not go into the equation. When you go in the deficit that they're talking about, it's a deficit. I buy, you buy products. It does not include services. Third lie, and this is the most important one, and this is where I think the Democrats can pounder it down. Cypro, Bitcoins, whatever you want to call it. Liberty Cypro is a Bitcoin company, which is owned 60% by
The
the
Trump
Trump
family.
family.
World Financial Liberty. That's the
Yeah,
name
World
of it. Yeah.
Financial Liberty. I'm sorry. Yes, it is owned by them. And how does this work? Well, it's very simple. You have an account number. I deposit in your account X amount of millions of dollars. Nobody knows who that account belongs to. And I go and say, hey, Eric, Tell your dad, look, I just deposited $6 million. We're good to go. That is corruption. That is purchasing out. And it's kind of interesting that since he opened the company and he became president in the United States of America, that company has increased 3,000%. Oh, people want to buy his products. There's no products here to buy. And when you have deposits in $5 and $6 and $8 million, with all due respect, that's not, you're buying influence. Okay, that you could be pounding on. The other thing that you can pound on, and this is the most interesting of all, is that as we speak right now, 90% of the countries in the world have not worked out a deal with us, except three, two in Africa and Vietnam, which the deal, and this is what the deal that they won't tell you, includes allowing Starlink to come into their countries and do internet service. They will grant them the permits. Now you would say, who cares about that? Starlink is owned by Elon Musk, the vice president of the United States. So the vice president of the United States, who spent $250 million of his own money to get Donald Trump into office, is now getting his money back. So you could do that. At the same time, let me make it even simpler for you. The price of eggs are still high. Gasoline is not $1.98 like the president said in his interview. It's $1.98. No, Mr. President, I know you don't put gas in your tank, but you're an idiot. It is not. It's in the $3.19 average nationwide. So that's a little bit more. Food is up, like it or not. Right now, things are getting very, very scarce. And if you wait for next month when you cannot buy certain things in Target and in Walmart because of this terrorist war, use that. The reason they voted for Donald Trump, Democrats, was not that he was a great guy. They know he's a liar. They know he's delusional. They know he's an idiot. But under his presidency from 2016 to 2020, most people perceived that the economy was much better than under Biden. The other thing is listen to David Hogg. Get rid of the OFARs. I mean, when I saw the View, Jill and Joe Biden, I'm like, people follow the Obamas the first 3 years that they got out of office. They just stayed away from everything. Trying to say that everything is okay and that you did nothing wrong. Own it. You screwed up. You did. It's nothing wrong with owning up when you do something wrong. Last, Democrats, stop being so sensitive about this. Go back to your roots. Your roots was the blue collar worker. Your roots was the middle class. Your root was listening to the people. Now what you're trying to do is, hey, I know what's wrong with you, and I'm going to find a cure, and here's a cure. I'm not listening to you. I'm telling you what you need to do. That is wrong. If there's one thing that Donald Trump has always done, he hears what he hears on TV and people complaining about, and he agrees with it. He doesn't agree with it personally. As a matter of fact, he came up with some very socialist ideas, which he finally saw the light when he said, you don't need 30 dolls, but you could do it too. And yes, you're going to have some pain, and you're going to have sacrifice for the good of the others. That's a very socialist idea. So, Democrats, you could do that. So let's move forward. If you want to criticize me because you don't think I'm a pure Democrat, I don't give a shit. I am more of a pure Democrat than you are because I'm here for the people, not for ideas. People, ideas. I'm for the people.
And there we are. And Jimmy, I want to take the Democrats since you led off with them and you just ended with David Hogg and the Democrat sensitivity. Politico just recently had an article about the Democrats failing in Florida, and we'll talk specifically about Florida. And David Hogg is from Florida. The Democrats
And for
seem
the record,
to.
we are from Florida.
Yeah,
Hello.
we are from Florida. Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Casey,
And
go.
and so David Hogg was recently on a national broadcast with several politicals. Donna Brazil was one of them. And David Hogg was asked about his plan, leaders, his pack, leaders we trust, or leaders we need, or something like that. I cannot recall. And his $20 million, their $20 million to take on those Democrats that they believe are not doing what's necessary to move the Democrats' agenda. And David Hogg was very succinct in his answers, very explanatory, very calm, and sort of a difficult environment. And what I got out of this was that, okay, again, David is standing 10 toes down. He is very concerned about moving Democrats out of the morass of incompetency, irrelevancy, and making them more respectable at the federal level. And Donna Brazil also said that and respected his position. However, there was an undertone that something your ass would be kicked out of maybe the Republican Party if what he was doing um, to the Republicans if he was the Republican vice chair. And there are some in the Democrat Party who would feel the same way. Now, their meetings are in August. Jimmy, is there space for a person, a group of individuals who have $20 million, who have resources in the Democratic Party to affect some type of change? And I could take off so many other things that kind of like, wow, you're moving, you're getting there, but then they take several steps back. What do you think, Jimmy?
Look, um, I agree with David. I agree with Donna. If
Hmm.
he was in the Republican Party, he would be out. But
Yeah,
he's not in the Republican Party. He's in the Democratic Party. So let's stop comparing what he's doing with another party. That's stupid, Donna.
sure,
There
sure.
you lost me. And I'm going to call you out. Uh, is there space? Yes, because right now in the Democratic Party there is a great vacuum
Yeah.
of leadership. There is none. I mean, can somebody tell me who's the leader of my party? Because I have no idea. As a matter of fact, uh, Chuck Schumer is not even close. Jeffries, when he compared us to a baseball team and Judge and the New York Giants, I mean the New York Yankees. Sorry. And when he compared other things and he's done nothing, Pelosi, no. The only people who are getting people out there and getting Democrats aside is Bernie Sanders and AOC. You might disagree with their views, irrespective. 30,000, 40,000 people go to see them and listen to what they have to say. Look, Democrat Party, stop proving Albert Einstein was correct. The definition for insanity is repeating the same act, expecting a different result. It's not going to happen. You lucked out when you stole the election in 2020 from Bernie Sanders with the pandemic because Bernie was ahead and because you started canceling Democratic things, you just gave it to Biden and you stole again in 2024 when you told everybody if you run against Biden, you will be killed in the Democratic Party and nobody dare run against Biden. Then to find out that he was senile in June and then to impose on us Kamala. So let's stop these games. You're in a downhill. You're not doing what you need to do. Again, I'm not against the principles of the party. I'm against the leadership or the lack of it. So, with all due respect, yes. Now let's bring it to Florida because this is home. I'm
Okay.
past secretary of the Florida Democratic Party, and because I said certain things that needed to be done, and to stop the madness, I was ousted. Recently, some people in Palm Beach opposed our current chairman, and she kicked him out. That mentality has to end. Freedom of expression that we want to defend in Washington saying that everybody has a right to freedom of expression should start within the Democratic Party. And it doesn't. So, leadership of the Democratic Party in Florida is going nowhere. We lost Miami, and we have no plan to recuperate it. We have given the worst results of our elections. We're losing members of the House. We're losing members of the Senate. And the Florida Democratic Party is doing nothing. Nikki, the best thing you could do for Democrats in Florida is resign. Run for governor if you want to do that. That's fine with me. That's your prerogative. Started right now in 2025. And I'll send you a check just to get rid of it.
And Jimmy, the chair of the Florida GOP posted recently that there is a 1.2 million voter registration advantage for the GOP here in Florida, and it keep rising.
Because the Democratic Party doesn't do nothing. How much money did the Florida Democratic Party send to the Orange County Democratic Party?
They seem to be asking for money from the Orange
and let me
County
clarify, because sometimes there's a confusion. We get from the filing fees,
right,
a percentage, and that is filtered through the Florida Democratic, but it's not money that comes from the Florida Democratic Party. So that's a lie. So how do they help us? They don't. So realistically, the best thing that can happen to the Florida Democratic Party is that somebody gets up there who wants to help the individual local parties to win the election, to do some serious fundraising, to do some serious canvassing, to do some serious voters registration, because Florida has not done this serious voters registration for Democrats in years. And when I mean serious, don't call me and say, they did a little bit over here, they did a little bit. No. I'm talking serious, statewide, seriously going back to Miami, see why they lost, how they can recuperate Miami, how they can do things. But basically, they have just washed their hands and done nothing. So if the young people want to do it, more power to them. If the young people want to take over this party, I'm 76. Do me a favor. Take it over. You have to let the new generation take over. The problem with these people is that they have contracts with ABC. They have contracts with CNN. They have contracts with MSNBC. And there's these so-called experts, and they feel threatened that other people might come in. So, Democrats, let's shake our party over. Let's make our party like it used to be, and let's stop fighting among ourselves. Get rid of the old wood, bring in new wood. David, the old 76-year-old is backing you. The old 76-year-old is backing you, David. You are right. It's time to change, because the same old people are not working. They're not convincing anybody. As a matter of fact, let me bring something up to you. Bill Maher, in his infinite cuckoo-ness, decided about 2 months ago to say who the leader of the Democrats should be. And he picked Fetterman from Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Fetterman recently had a meeting with his constituents in which he went berserk. It's well documented. You can find it in the Washington Post. It's well documented. He has had some concerns about him. Man suffers from depression. His past principal aide email, yes, somehow was hacked, and it shouldn't have been hacked, and all that other stuff. Before you Democrats say that was not fair, I'll agree. And he has some serious concerns, bringing up that he does not want to read. He does not want. He claims he's an expert, and where his expertise is from TV. And I know somebody else whose expertise is from TV. Look, that he votes with the Republicans, I don't have a problem with that one. I really don't. I would love to see the Republicans voting with us, which that's not going to happen because they're in line. We are not. But Fetterman is not the answer to our parties either. So, at this time, Bill, you're going to have to find somebody else, because this party does not have a leader. And if you want to give me a comment, do me a favor, do tell me who you believe is the leader of the Democratic Party nationally. Tell
Jimmy,
me who's the leader of the Democratic Party in Florida. And we're
Jimmy,
good.
to speak to that, I saw a headline this morning that AOC may be reconsidering the chair position of the House Oversight Committee that is being that Representative Connolly is stepping down from because of the representative's health issues. That this was something that she coveted, and now, and I only read the headline, so I don't know the full context. However, this is an opportunity for the new guard to step up. And if it's true that AOC is reconsidering taking on that leadership, I know there are others who have been mentioned for that role. Would this be detrimental to her cause, to the cause of the young people who are looking to be more influential in the party?
If she takes it over, it would help them immensely because now we would have somebody under the age of 40, and the rule of seniority was was out the window, which it should have been out the window a long time ago, but it's
Sure.
out the window. Okay. Second thing, that why she's so wishy-washy about is because it's no military secret. If Chuck Schumer decides next year to run again for the Senate, he's going to have serious opposition, and it could very well be her. And then she could be the youngest person in the Senate. And can you imagine? Oh, AOC in the Senate. Ooh, that's something I would like to see because that's something that would be very powerful. So, to have a young person in the Senate, because let's get it, the Senate is full of old folks. I think the youngest is Fetterman, and Fetterman is not old there. Uh, so
Yes.
it's a matter of what she want, where she wants to go. She's not going to run for president. The people who thinking that she's going to run for president, you've been smoking cheap weed. No, she's not running for president. And the truth of the matter is, I'm going to ask you another thing. People tell me who the Democrats should run for president. Yeah, it's 4 years away. I don't care. Just amuse me. Tell me who you think they should run for president, because that will give me a great answer. But right now, if she
Mhm.
were to take that over and then run for the Senate and only be there 2 years, uh, the problem I have is that it's all about seniority in my party, and that doesn't give you a great leader. Just because you've been here longer doesn't make you a great leader. That's moronic. But it's something that Democrats, contrary to others, have stick to. Uh, and at this point, I think that if she runs and she wins, it will be a great thing.
I Going back to Chuck Schumer, Senator Schumer, I would love to see him follow in the steps of my home state of Illinois, Senator Dick Durbin. I would love for Schumer to follow his example and announce his retirement. I've never cared for Schumer's calm resistance. Never felt that he had to fight in him, and it's unfortunate that, excuse me, Jimmy, that I can't see him as the leader that the opposition party needs now.
And this is something that I want to bring. Chuck Schumer is in charge in the Senate now because of seniority, not because he's a great leader, not because he's a smart person, not because he has charisma, not because of anything else, but because when Reed went out, the next person senior was Chuck. And one thing that I we have to get away is this stupid seniority rule. If this is the most qualified person, make him the speaker. If this is the most articulate person, make him the
Thank you.
president of the, because that's the way it should be. But unfortunately, what we have is an old fart there who cannot talk well, who's not an orator, who cannot inspire
Yeah,
anybody, who cannot motivate the country, and who most of the country don't like. Even Democrats don't. Oh, Chuck, no, that's actually it's not. Again, I make a comment. Who do you think should be the next chair of the Democrats in the Senate? Because right now, I'll give you an example. You have senators who have more name recognition than Chuck, including the senator from the great state of New Jersey who sat there and did a 25-hour buster. More people know Corey's name than they know Chuck's.
that's true.
Just say, you know, it is what it is. It's a matter of Fetterman. Most people know him because he's the only person who goes in shorts to the Senate and goes in a hoodie. And oh, look, that guy's crazy. Yeah. And then he's 6'8" too, so it's kind of tall.
Yes.
People can see him. But yes, and he says crazy things. But Chuck is not the person who should be leading our party at this time.
I agree, Jimmy. The opposition party offers really no enthusiasm from my experience in the political space. And I want to make this very clear because I've been saying this, we've been saying this, Jimmy, for so long, and we have the receipts. Trump has changed politics in America. The
Correct.
playbook is over. There is a new playbook, and it is amazing and disappointing that the Democrats have not caught on to this day. You stated at the beginning of the show about boom, the tariffs, boom, conversations with different countries about reducing tariffs to some trade agreement, and two countries out of Africa and Vietnam have agreed to something. The UK agreement, in your opinion, is not an agreement. Where have we're right back where we started, and where is the vitriol? Where is the vitriol from any type of opposition leadership, any of the Democrats, any of the liberals, progressives, except from you?
And what I'm trying to do, and let me make this clear because I know some of your comments, you think that I'm against my party. No,
No.
I am so for my party to change. You cannot continue to be stagnated. Democrats, you need to change. You've been stagnated with the same thing. You think that what worked in 2020 is going to work again in 2024. And guess what? It didn't.
That's right.
It didn't. Look, I don't agree with Trump, but he changed the way politics are here. Look, what the American people care about, pocketbook. Believe it or not, they care about their pocketbook. Number two, they care about immigration. And sometimes we've been on the wrong side of immigration. Okay? They care about education. And at times we try to tell them how they should educate their kids and not listen how they want to educate their kids. Look, everybody has a
Yeah.
constitutional right to be stupid. And if they want to be stupid, that is their right. And last but not least, stop not listening to the public and stop talking down to people. Talk to them as equals. Respect their opinions. They're not wrong. They're not deplorables. Okay? They're
Hmm.
not deplorables. And that is a word that came out of one of our recent candidates for president. Not 40 years ago, not 60 years ago, but approximately 9 years ago. Okay? Stop stealing elections. Look, with all due respect, Kamala was not elected by a primary. Contrary to what we found out in June that Biden was senile. We pushed him out because he was senile. And then all of a sudden, the consequence of that was that they imposed, and I'm going to call the word, they imposed Kamala on everybody.
Yeah.
Kamala cannot win one primary when she ran for president. Kamala is not the greatest person in the world. Kamala she decided to say, "Hey, everything we did was fine. There's no mistakes. Everything is okay in this country. Just let's keep the course." And the course was not that great.
That's right.
For some reason, the party in the last 20 years has had some difficulty saying, "You know what? That one's on us." I don't know if you saw the movie American Underdog, uh, the story of Kurt Warren. And there's an old tradition in sports, okay, which is that's my mistake. It's on me.
That's right. That's right, Jimmy.
And when you're in sports and you realize that, hey, I did something wrong, and you own it. Democrats, we've done some things wrong, own it. Simple. It's not that complex. It's really what are we going to go forward? Oh, we got 4 years. Somebody will show up. Yeah, but you would probably block that person. Look, let me go the reverse on Donna. Donna, I'm going to go the reverse on you. If somebody came down the escalator who had never been a governor, who had never been a senator, who had never been a congressman, who had never held office, period, never hold office, and come down and say, "Hey, I'm running for the Democratic nomination, and let me stop talking to you and completely different from what your party's talked to you for years." How long will we put up with that? How will we try to block that person? How will we try to get our state parties to not allow that person to name to appear in the ballot? That is where we have erred a lot. Look, one thing I have to give credit to Donald Trump. He came down, he said, "This is my message," and the American people bought it. We in the Democratic Party use the word weird, not crazy, weird. We are politically correct. They're not. The new politics kicks in the ass politically correct. Now, a politician can go up and say, "That's fucked up." Oh, you don't say that. No, you can't. You can say that guy's a goddamn liar. No. He's just no. That's the new politics. Get used to it. That's what the American people want. Maybe some Democrats don't, and I'll respect that. Some of you don't want
Sure.
that. That's true. But
Move
that's not
aside.
the new. That's not the real world. The real world is that basically people want a politician to talk to them like them, and not talk down. Not tell them that everything is okay when it's not. Tell them certain truths. Like, for example, I'll give you one. We had a meeting with Canada, and again the president went with the 51 state. Puerto Rico, you're not going to be the 51 state. It's Canada. Okay, they're white. Okay, sorry, should have said that, but that's true. Okay, he mentioned that, and the prime minister very politely said, "Canada's not for sale." Okay, it's not going to happen, but he keeps with this. He keeps saying this idiotic thing that we do not need Canada, that Canada is not a trade partner. So let me get this numbers for you idiots. UK, 3%. Canada, 28% of everything that we bring in or sell is Canada. It's our nearest neighbor. We do it by truck. Okay? But let me tell you something. He mentioned that same thing, that gas was $1.98. We all know it's not $1.98 a gallon. What he did not mention to you is that when we talk about American oil independence, it's kind of a misquote, because 40% of all gas that comes into this country comes from Canada. There's about 6 refineries in this country that are prepared to refine Canadian gas, which is different from American gas, and is a different process to do so. So if we were to stop bringing in gas from Canada, price would not be $3.29; it would be $12.99. The other thing is that he keeps talking about that there's a trade deficit. There is about 30 billion. Why? Well, let's put it this way: we buy more things from them than we sell them. That is true. But why? We are the largest consuming country in the world. Half, close to 30% of all the gas that we sell in the United States comes from Canada. That's going to create a deficit because we don't sell them gas back. They sell us, but we don't sell them back. So when that creates a deficit. Yes. The other thing is they're our nearest neighbors. They're our best business partners. And for some reason, we want to treat them like shit. And I cannot understand this. So,
Jimmy, I know prior to us starting to record, I was listening to C-SPAN this morning and listening to the former chief economist for the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and he is a Harvard economist and pretty much center right. And I believe that he gave a pretty much down the middle explanation of what we're going through in regards to this new economy, the tariffs. However, at the end, he was not optimistic about where this economy is going. Maybe seeing inflation at 3, 4%, which is not as bad as 7, 8, 9, 10%. However, when you're looking to retire, you're looking at your investments, you're looking at, like you said earlier, the cost of eggs, the cost of gas, that 2%, 3% increase in inflation does have a significance in everyone's day-to-day lives and their kitchen table issues. And lastly, he stated that we need to be prepared. We may not have seen the roughest part of this particular economic agenda. And I encourage people to, look into this and do their own homework. However, you're hitting the nail on the head in regards to the economy, the tariffs, the president's had strong approach to working with other economies in other countries. What's your perspective on what to anticipate in the coming months, coming years of this economy?
let's start from one. I don't see eggs and food going down. I see
Mhm.
it going up. I don't see gas going down. I see it staying at 329. It's not going to go up unless we still decide to put more tariffs on things that come in from Canada. Then the gasoline from Canada might be more expensive. But I understand that is gasoline. They're going to make an exception because that one is will kill them. And they're crazy, but they're not stupid. And I'm going to say that a lot. Uh, where I do see is with the products that come from China, and we tend to not understand certain things. Oh, it's not the things that you buy in Timu. It's not the other things. But for example, if you go to Kohl's, and I went to Kohl's the other night just to get my steps in, and I touched a bunch of shirts. Guess what they
Mhm.
made? They made it in China. They made it polyester. So yeah, Kohl's will have less shirts. Kohl's will have less stuff to sell. I look at half of the products that are in what you call it in Target and Walmart. Three-quarters of them are made in China. You take those out, you're going to be. And they told them, and they did tell them, that if it's didn't do something fast, come June and July, the shelves of Target and Walmart will be half empty. I did not say that. The presidents of Target and Walmart said that. And we know that the tariffs have not changed at all. Not. Okay. But when you're telling me this is going to hurt the economy, there's one thing that the American people need to understand.
Hmm.
When you cannot buy a product because it's not in Walmart, but it's at Target, you go to Target. Well, why are you making this comparison? Well, when I cannot buy pork and soybeans from the United States because they're too expensive, but I can buy them from Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, and other countries at a cheaper price, I'm going to buy them. And once I get used to buying them from there, I'm not going to go back to Walmart.
Right.
I I know it's in Target, so I'm going to continue going to Target. I'm trying to bring the comparison because once the rest of the world buys their soybeans, their pork, their beef from other countries than us, which is our biggest export right now, with all due respect, we could try to come back to sanity later, realize that this didn't work, and be burned. Second, when you say we want to bring the factories back, we want to bring the factories back. Mr. President, I have a solution for you. Very
Hmm.
simple. Say, if you come back to the United States and open a factory here, I will give you 20 years of tax free income. 20 years. I will pay half of your workman compensation insurance. Oh, and for the record, I will train your workers. That sounds crazy. That sounds like imitating China. Bingo! Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head, Jimmy. You beat me to it. You beat me to it. And Trump allegedly is planning to reduce tariffs on China ahead of U.S. and Chinese negotiations in Switzerland this weekend. Reduce the tariffs down to 85%.
Whoopee. So
Hmm.
instead of paying 125% more from something that comes from China, I'm still paying 85 cents, 85%. So let's see. I need to buy a microphone so I could do a good recording with you. It's going to take
Sure.
something that I have right in front of me. The microphone used to cost uh, $100, a good microphone, but now with the 85% incentive, I'm going to pay 185. Whoopee! Instead of 250. Ah, I need to buy, believe it or not, a lot of medicines come from China.
That's true.
We don't know how to say that, but it does. Okay, so now the medicine that I used to pay $10 is going to be 20. Now, 85% is stupid. Is it going to bring back factories? No.
No.
Is it going to bring back manufacturing? No. Is it going to do anything that is helpful for the United States? No. Who's going to pay the tariffs? The tariffs are
We
paid
do.
by you and me.
That's
It's not the
correct.
government. China doesn't pay them. The person, the importer doesn't pay them. The consumer pays for them. So I'm not sure, but this is the problem that I have. If I cannot sell to you, economic 101, I found somebody else that I can sell to. So if the United States doesn't want to buy Chinese products, I'm sure that there's other countries in the world that will be willing to buy those products. I am sure that Brazil has already signed a contract with China for soybeans, major contract.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, uh, and Mexico is about to sign a contract with China to sell pork. Well, hey, so people, this was one of those things that my grandfather used to tell me. This is something that was really not thought through.
Mm.
Every act has a consequence. What was good a consequence? Oh, and the idiotic mind of Donald Trump, because he's a moron, he thought if I just threaten them with tariffs, they're going to say, "Oh, I'm petrified. What do I need to do?" No, and they're all going to come and kiss the ring. Oh, well, I don't want to. end up the fuck up of the week. So because that's another issue. So can we do something about this? Yes, but long term is my concern.
Right.
When people like Canada say, "Hey, I cannot trust the U.S." When people like Mexico can say, "I cannot trust the U.S." When people in South and Central America say, "I cannot trust," when people in Africa and Europe say, "We cannot trust the U.S." What is that impact going to be on our economy, on our cost of living? And by the way, for those of you who do not trade internationally like I do,
Uh-oh.
the dollar is going down very fast. Dollar is losing to the euro. It's always lost to the pound. Let's not stop pretending. But it is losing. It is not what it used to be. As a matter of fact, it's kind of interesting because one of the things that
There we
even
go. We're back.
okay,
We had a little outage there, but I'm working on that.
okay, we're
But
good.
go ahead, Jimmy. You were saying.
Look, one of the things that we have to understand that is going to how could the long term effect be on our economy when the Canada, Mexico, Central America, South America, Europe, and Africa say we cannot trust the U.S. They might go crazy on us in any moment. Look, they brought back Donald Trump. They might elect somebody like Donald Trump who is act crazy like that. We can no longer trust the U.S. And once you lose trust, that's a very difficult thing to recoup. And
Indeed.
that is my concern. Long range. People are not dependent on, don't trust the United States. And those of you who think, but they depend on us. No, they don't. In a global economy, everybody depends on everybody. We could go buy uh, soybeans from Brazil. We could buy pork from Mexico, and we could cut out the U.S. And the U.S. can say, "Hey, we took off the tariffs." And no, it's really a hard thing. And we decided to go to war with China. Yeah, that was really smart. Really, really smart.
Speaking of war and bring it closer to home, there appeared to be a civil war brewing in the state legislature in Tallahassee. It looks like Republicans are having some issues of their own, and we're next week, starting next week, we'll be in an extended legislative session. Looks like work was not completed. What's your insights on that, Jimmy?
Well, but it was completed because walk was never an issue in Florida. There was no laws of walk, so that I'm not sure what it was. But basically, it's more of a fight. Look, DeSantis days are out, and
Mhm.
a lot of them because of the scandal of DeSantis and the $10 million and him throwing his wife under the bus. I mean, that was major. Not on the bus, under the truck. That's her. That's her plan. Go ask her questions. I know nothing about. Woo! You didn't even defend your wife. That's a good one. But the legislator knows he's out, so they don't have to kiss the ring anymore. So there's a fight. There's a fight among who is going to be running for governor for the Republicans, and most of them are not in the corner with DeSantis' wife. Most of them are still kissing Donald Trump's ring, who is back Byron Thompson. We all know that. So they're like, okay, we have to go with Trump. He's this guy's out. We don't need him anymore. But Trump is still going to be there. So yeah, there's a device.
Byron
It's more of
Donalds,
a
yes.
device of the Trumpists and the purists, which at this point, but if they're going to come up, look, for a legislator, do something about property insurance in the state. We
Yes.
have a crisis here that is tremendous. Okay, do something about the education system in the state, which you think that you've done all these things that are great for it, we're still in the bottom nationally in education. Sorry, but that's the truth.
Yes.
But it's nice to see them fighting among themselves. It really is. I agree. And those
Yeah.
Democrats
And
decide to join them, you're crazy, because that's a crazy party. Okay, so I
yeah,
think we might be having time to go into the fuck up of the week.
let's
Let's.
hear it, Jimmy. I
You know
think
what?
we.
I started with the Democrats, and I think I covered them. So I'm not going to go, but there's two.
All right.
Let me give you the first one. The way the president treated the prime minister of Canada and the disrespect he's had for the Canadians, and saying that uh, that the United States does not need Canada. God, that is so damn stupid, and that is a major fuck up. Continue with the thing of the 51 state. They don't want to be a state. Neither do Americans want them to be a state. If you go into a survey, Americans don't want them to be a state either. Uh, so that's two-parted because that will be the most powerful state in the nation, and Congress would. If Congress stays at 485, each state is going to lose about half of its delegation because population-wise, so it's kind of stupid, but whatever. But I think there's one area that he crossed that is completely offended not only the people in this country, but again, he says, how can I offend everybody in the world? How can I show that I'm an idiot to everybody in the world? How can I prove that I have no redeeming value in the world? It's very simple. Use IA and create yourself in an image of the next pope. That offended Catholics in Africa, Catholics in Asia, Catholics in Europe, Catholics in the United States of America, South Central America. What benefit did that help our country? None. Look, I'm not a religious person. Everybody who knows me knows that's true. Yes, Mr. President, you have shown us that you can talk about another man's penis for 20 minutes, and that's okay with your party, which is part of this country, not the whole country. You could talk about call Mexican rapists and all that, and that part of the country. But to make fun of the Catholic Church and to assume that you, Mr. President Donald Trump, who's an atheist, could be the Pope, that's kind of interesting. And I would call that the fuck up of the week, because if you wanted to turn off people against the United States, and for the record, the president of our country is our representative. Like it or not,
Right.
he is our representative internationally. And when
That's
you
correct.
fuck up, you're fucking up for the whole country. It's not just for yourself. So when I see the comments internationally of how offended people were by that, Mr. President, I'll give it to you. That's the fuck up of the week, probably of the month. And really, that was as dumb comes. Didn't benefit the country. You're not arguing to help America. You're not help. That does not make America great. That was just an ego trip on your part that you fucked up. But that, let me then say, hit that little button, subscribe, like, dislike us. I don't care. Really, I don't. If you want to make a comment, yes. And for the record, I acknowledge that not all my comments are favorable. I do. And I thrive on your negative comments. Believe it or not, I do thrive on your negative comments because it makes me it shows to me that I'm getting to you, that I am causing a conversation. So let's like, dislike, subscribe, view the whole podcast, give me your comments, and we're good to go. So until next week, I'll be seeing you all. And have a great weekend. And have a
Happy
great
Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to your wife, to all the mothers out there.
And to Daisy and to your mother and everybody out there. Okay?
Thank you, Jimmy. We'll see you the next time.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye now.